amidst a cluster of low undulating hills in the rocky and barren terrain of central Rajasthan is Nathdwara, a mere 45 kilometers north of the city of Udaipur. Nathdwara today is a profusion of concrete growth, and yet it offers a very distinct charm of its own. The Indian way of life have always been punctuated by celebrant forms of worship, myth, spiritualism, and aesthetically delightful traditions. Historically, the upheavals caused by invasions after the 10th century had far-reaching impact on the art and culture of India. As a result, a traditional source of patronage ceased to exist for poets, painters, craftsmen, and musicians, and so they resorted to the safety of forests and mountains. The simplicity of the natural ambience brought about major transformations in the forms of expression. Rich imagery, symbolism, and personalized approach became the hallmark of the presentations. Attitudes to life and worship also got new dimensions. It was during this period, that is the 15th century, a new form of Krishna worship called the Pushti Marg, the path of grace, evolved in Braj, North India. Worship through poetry, music, painting, cookery, flowers, costumes, and jewelry form the rituals of this sect. During Aurangzeb's reign in 1672, this deity of Srinathji, the infant form of Lord Krishna, was shifted from Braj to a village named Sinhad in Rajasthan. This village was later renamed Nathdwara. Here, the temple or the Haveli of Lord Krishna rises phoenix-like and is the hub of the town, the center around which all life revolves. The celebrant form of worship advocated by the sect grew around the lives and tastes of the leaders or the Goswamijis. They combined parameters of the sensuous and the spiritual in an aesthetically delightful tradition. They also initiated and nurtured the tradition of painting by introducing Chitra Seva, the worship of the painted icon. For this, they commissioned various genres of painting such as Pichhwais, murals, and miniatures. Later, all these formats came to constitute the Nathdwara school of painting. Well, when we talk of this form of art, we cannot not think of Sri Amitbhai Ambalal, who has done a great deal of research into this field, is an eminent artist, a discerning collector, and also the author of the book Krishna as Srinathji. So let us take a jhanki, a glimpse into this rich tradition of art with Amitbhai.
Actually, in the beginning of the 16th century, Vallabhacharya, a saint and philosopher coming from the Andhra region, he formulated the theosophy of Pushti Marga, according to which Krishna at the age of childhood, Krishna at the early age was considered as a Purna avatar or a complete incarnation of Vishnu. And service or seva to the image of Krishna, child Krishna, was considered as a main objective of the religion. And during the time of Vallabhacharya's son Vithalnathji, that is also mid-16th century and 17th century, that he was basically more of a painter rather than a saint or a philosopher. So he added in this seva or worship of child Krishna the elements of raga, bhoga and shringara. Raga is music, poetry, bhoga is sumptuous foods and various types of dishes, and shringara is adornment, painting and so on. It was mainly because of his contacts with the Mughal court. He had very personal relations with Akbar. All the arts during Vithalnathji's time, that is in the late 16th century and early 17th century, derived its inspiration from the imperial customs and arts. And that rich tradition which was established by Vithalnathji, which included various kinds of arts, is still continuing.
Today, the school survives in its original reference, that is, painting as a form of worship. Painting here is still a living tradition, and it leaves the beholder spellbound by its sheer simplicity and divinity. One of the most unique painting genre is Pichhwai. A Pichhwai is a cloth hanging displayed behind the image of the deity, and it literally serves as a dramatic background around the sanctum. It illuminates and extends the sumptuous fare of the darshan. It generally expresses the mood of the deity, the spirit of the season, or the theme of the festival.
The function of the Pichhwai is mainly to sort of create a kind of a regal atmosphere for the deity. Sometimes it is to convey the meaning of the songs that are sung in front of the deity. It's a kind of a visual aspect of the poetry, quite many times. Many times the image of the deity is so small that the devotees who are coming in a large crowd, they are unable to see the image. So the image of the deity is painted large on the Pichhwai. It works as a kind of an enlarged version of the tiny image. So those who cannot see or who cannot get the glimpse of the image, they can see a kind of an enlarged form of the deity. Here also you can see this blank portion at the bottom. It's here that the Singhasana or the throne of the deity is placed. And at the back, I mean this blank space indicates that the image must be very small, because the Singhasana is also quite small. So the enlarged version of the image is painted at the back. This particular Pichhwai is displayed on the day of, or on the festival day of Gopashtami. Gopashtami is the occasion on which it commemorates the day on which Krishna became the full-fledged cowherd. So here we see Krishna dancing with his flute in his one hand, and all the cows are quite joyfully surround him. So on various occasions, various kinds of subjects are painted on this Pichhwai.
Pichhwais for the shrine of Srinathji are usually about 3 meters wide and 1.8 meters in length.
And that's how it has become very popular, because you never find our usual Indian traditional paintings in such a large scale.
Pichhwais are a kind of very enlarged size skills employed by the miniature artists. They are produced in many ways and by various techniques. They are painted, printed, woven, appliqued, brocaded, studded with mirrors, embroidered with pearls or semi-precious stones or sequins, and may even consist of net needlework. It is often a group effort with several painters working together under the supervision of a master artist. The wide range of themes and situations are made available to the Pichhwai painters. In spite of this, one major constraint lies in the fact that no significant changes are permitted in the fundamental symbolism, and hardly any deviation is allowed in the subject matter or the theme of the painting, because each and every Pichhwai has its own symbolic meaning.
Another genre of Nathdwara paintings is the portrait painting. They have achieved a very high level of portraiture accuracy, because so many devotees, they also want the portrait of their guru, the Goswami, and so the Nathdwara painters make these portraits of the gurus or important Goswamis for the common devotee. For example, this is a book which shows the portraits of various Goswamis. And here also it has a kind of a rather photographic accuracy. Another important aspect is the mural painting. Here also it's mainly because of the custom or the requirement of the sect.
Murals are wall paintings that adorn the Haveli of Srinathji and almost the entire township of Nathdwara. They show a high degree of skill in draftsmanship and portraiture. Every year, a month before the annual function of Annakut, the whole shrine of Srinathji is whitewashed and all the murals with particular symbolic meaning are repainted. Miniature paintings is another arena specialized by the Nathdwara painters.
It's quite strange, or rather it's very unusual, that probably this is the only school of traditional miniature painting that still survives in its original reference. Of course, there are still miniature painters in other parts of the country, but they paint for different purpose, maybe for the tourists, for the house decoration. But here, the Nathdwara painter works and still exists on the same background rather.
The miniatures developed by them fall into several distinct genres, that is, icon painting, Manorath painting, Krishna Leela paintings, portraits, mythological subjects, landscapes, and sometimes secular subjects. The elaborate ornamentations and the adornment of the deity too have a distinct significance, with each item and its color conveying a symbolic meaning. The result of this convention is that paintings look more like patterns where all the components are seen at a single glance. The organized simplicity of the background and the symmetrical compositions in the miniatures help to create illusory movement of the icon. Amit Bhai, as you said that the image was shifted from the north to Nathdwara. Now when the image came into Rajasthan, did this art form undergo any changes?
I think so. As such, we don't have any evidences to prove or to see what was the art form like when the image was in the north, because it was in the 1672. So before that period, whatever was done, we hardly have any visual evidences, only the literary references we have. But certainly I think that it underwent a lot of changes, because in the rituals it was also necessary to get the help of artists and artisans, and naturally they had to take this help from the local people. And so it was during this time that people from the neighboring states of like Mewar, Jodhpur, Bundi, Kota, Kishangarh, I mean those artists for a sort of a offering a kind of worship through painting to Srinathji. So they all brought their own styles here, and in a way this Nathdwara became a kind of a melting pot of so many Rajasthani schools of paintings. So I can certainly say that the nucleus remained the same, the philosophy and tradition remained the same, but there were lots of changes in the aesthetic expressions.
One of the painters who brought about a major change in the Nathdwara painting style was Ghasiram. A creative genius in his own right, Ghasiram made significant innovations in painting by introducing newer techniques and imagery, thereby imparting his paintings with more actuality and neorealism.
हमारे तो ये चित्रकारी का काम परंपरा से है, लेकिन मैंने विशेष करके आर्टिस्ट घासीराम जी से रेखा चित्र सीखा और कुछ फिर बाद में आर्टिस्ट हमारे जो अंकल नरोत्तम जी आर्टिस्ट थे, उनसे एक रंग का काम का अभ्यास भी हमने किया।
Today, more than 200 painters strive to cultivate the traditional skills of their forebears to develop styles distinct of their own.
क्योंकि आजकल तो खाली पुष्टि मार्ग से मंदिर संबंधित ही नहीं है, अब तो काफ़ी विस्तृत हो गया है, इसलिए काफ़ी लोग इस तरफ रुचि भी रख रहे हैं। इस काम को सीखने के लिए भी नए नए लड़के भी आ रहे हैं। देखा जाए तो नाथद्वारा की शैली विशेष कपड़े पे काफ़ी लोकप्रिय हुई है सारी दुनिया में। तो कपड़े पे पेंटिंग्स ये बनाने के लिए, उसकी मेथड सीखने के लिए आवश्यक है कि यहाँ एक स्कूल उस तरह का कायम किया जाए।
Producing their own pigments and brushes, like most traditional Indian painters, the painters of Nathadwara have over a period of time created a niche for themselves.
ये जो पुरानी पेंटिंग है मेरे पास में रिपेयरिंग के लिए आती थी, तो फिर मैंने सोच किया कि ये रंग कहाँ मिलते हैं। जैसे ये हड़ताल है तो ये जोधपुर में मिलती है, जैसे ये हिंगलू है तो ये उदयपुर में भी मिलता है, नाथद्वारा में मिलता है, ये आयुर्वेद में भी काम आता है। ये तो हमारे पास में ये पत्थर रखे हुए हैं, उस पर गुटाई करते हैं हम। गुटाई करने के बाद में फिर जो है उसको अच्छी तरह से छान करके और फिर गोंद मिला करके फिर काम में।
These outstanding pictorial manifestations could be attained by the Nathadwara painters, since the artists here painted as devotees to fulfill their own emotional needs, and so all that they created imbued with feelings. Till the artist's faith in the divine grace remains alive, this art would continue to soothe our souls with divine hues.